Hey everyone! So my last video, for some reason or another, didn't want to upload. So I had started out with this page. And you can see where I attempted to do it. But we have to do a new page. So we're going to do 3 different ways to blend. The first way is using one color, 4 different shades of the color. Always going lightest to darkest. And then the second blending technique is blending with 3 totally different colors, but they still work together. Some colors you'll find will clash and kind of blend muddy, so you'll get like a brownish color. And then the third way is using Gamsol and a paper blending stump. So let's start with the first way with greens. I'm going to do, I'll do this leaf over here. So you get your lightest color first, and you just go one layer very lightly with your lightest shade over the whole image. And you notice how I use circular motions. If you go like side to side or up and down, you'll see lines, and circular motions actually trick the eye to not see lines, so it's best to do in circular motions. Okay, so we did our first color. Then you go to your next darkest color, and I'm going to shade upwards, so my shadow will be at the bottom. And it's just a very natural shade. And I start out darker down here, maybe a little bit harder of a pressure, and then I taper up with lighter pressure. And I'm gonna stop like halfway, I think, with this color. Okay, and then our next color. You don't want to push too hard, especially the first layer. That's the most vital layer. If you push too hard with your first layer, you push down all the tooth in the paper, and it makes it harder to add color and blend. So light, soft layers. Make it a little bit darker down here. And then we're gonna do the darkest layer. And you kind of just outline and then taper up. And then what you'll do is you go back down. So you go to your next darkest and you color over the darkest portion. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. And again, I'm going back over the layer I just did to hide out any lines, smooth it all out. And to get a nice smooth transition. And then your lightest layer. And then kind of go over the entire thing with the lightest layer. And it almost acts like a burnisher. And there we go. That's how you blend with the same color but different shades. You can see that like the lines, you can't really see them. It's a very smooth transition. Okay, so the next bit will be using all three colors. Okay, so this one we're going to do the red, the orange, and the yellow. And we'll start off with the yellow, which is going to be dark cadmium yellow. And we're going to start coloring this leaf right here. So we're going to do one light layer. Now, shading and blending three different colors takes a little bit more effort than doing the same color, just different tones, because it takes a little bit more effort to hide that transition. But the results are really, really cool. And then we're going to do our orange. So I'm going to start again shading down at the bottom. Again, tapering up and getting lighter as I get towards the tip of the leaf. And doing a little bit more heavier pressure, like medium pressure, down towards the bottom. A little darker. That's the thing about going lightest to darkest. You can always darken colors. It's a little bit more difficult to lighten a color. So that's why I always start out lighter and add lots of layers, thin layers, so that's easier to figure out if I want to go darker or if I want to stay lighter. And now we're adding the red at the bottom, harder at the bottom, and then tapering off at the top. And then you work backwards. So you go to your orange and kind of color over the red, and it hides the transition lines. And then go back with the yellow. And again, go over the orange with a heavier pressure. And then lighten out at the top. And then kind of go back with the red, make it a little bit darker. And then that's how you transition with 3 different colors. A little bit more work, but it's worth it. You can use all kinds of color combinations. You can do purple to pink. You can do purple, pink, and orange. I've seen that done really well. You can blend 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors. It doesn't really matter. Just always work light to dark. Okay, so the next bit is going to be Gamsol. So give me 1 second and we'll get to that bit in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to use Gamsol. And this is my blending stump. There's a little bit of red on it. But that's okay, because we're just going to use the red and the orange and yellow like we did before. So what you do is you lay down your pencil first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more harsher of a transition line so that you can see how Gamsol aids in blending out that line and melts the colors into each other. So let's see. We'll color this acorn. An acorn can be orange and red and yellow. Okay, so I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to kind of go out and stop. And then I'll do red. Okay, so you can clearly see the transition line. So we're gonna go ahead and dip very lightly in here. So you just want to barely touch it in there. And then if you have too much on your blending stump, you can always dab it on a piece of paper towel. And then you just kind of color over it in circular motions. Give it a lot of pressure. See how that immediately made that harsh line go away? So then what you can do is, with Gamsol, you can continue to add color. So I'm going to go and add my yellow at the end. And I'm going to maybe add a little bit more of a red. And some more orange. That's what I like about Gamsol. It doesn't stop you from adding layers of color. And then you can go ahead and add another layer of Gamsol. This is totally optional, you don't have to. It just kind of helps your second layer of pencil move out. And there you have it. Gamsol is pretty amazing. I don't use it for everything. Gamsol isn't the greatest for smaller areas. Like this, like you don't really need it for that. You can blend with a couple pencils in that. It's really good for large areas like this. Makes it easier to hide lines, and so bigger areas where there's more of a chance for you to see directional lines. Gamsol is really great for that. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you guys got a lot of information from it, and go ahead and practice, and I'd love to see your blending work. Have a great day, guys.